I'm just glad to have finished. And I mean,
Yeah.
again, it was amazing that Jody waited for me. It was amazing that you got me included in the official results.
Yep.
You know, I'm honored to have been the last runner at Chase the Coyote. Honored to have set the SKT for the 50K.
Hello, everyone. We are back with another Gotta Run Racing episode.
That's right. As part of our wrap-up for 10 years of Chase the Coyote, we thought it fitting that we chat with the final runner to cross the finish line.
Okay.
Neil Baird, 68 years young, from Erin, Ontario. We first met Neil in 2017 when he signed up for our Learn to Run clinic, and he competed in his first 5K race that same year. The following year, he took on the 12K at Chase the Coyote. And at age 65 in 2019, he completed the 25K. After a 2-year break from racing due to the pandemic, he took on the 50K, the final 50K.
At age 68?
68. And we know it was a long day for him.
Yeah.
So let's hear what he has to say.
Let's hear his whole journey to completing all distances of Chase the Coyote coming up.
Enjoy. First of all, welcome to the show, Neil Baird, and big congrats on completing your very first ultra marathon. Welcome to the club.
Thank you very much.
So what we'd like to do is actually go back to the very beginning, which the beginning for us is when we met you in 2017 and you signed up for our Beginner Learn to Run clinic. So what inspired you to do that at the ripe young age of 63?
Well, what it was, I've always been walking in the morning, and I thought I would like to try running. My inspiration for that, to start the clinic, was to participate in the Run for the Cure 5K and raising funds for breast cancer. And that was in memory of my mom, who we lost in 2014. So I mean, I hadn't really run since high school. So I tried on my own and it didn't work out. So I thought I should actually work with some people who know what they're doing. And that was sort of how it all started.
You don't look like an actual runner. I go, how tall are you?
I'm 6'6".
So 6'6", maybe 200 something. I don't know, but
yeah, I'm just under 200 right now.
Wow. But did you always have an athletic background?
No, I'm not athletic whatsoever.
So many people can relate.
I played football. I played football in high school only because all my friends were doing it, but I was never really competitive that way or anyway, I was not athletic whatsoever. I'm still not athletic.
Sure you are.
You can say you're an athlete now. You can claim you're an athlete.
You can claim it, yeah. Now, you didn't get, the coaches weren't trying to get you onto the volleyball or the basketball team?
Basketball, yes. Yeah, I just said no. Like I said, I am so clumsy. I said, no, you don't want me on your team.
You could just stay under the net and dunk.
Yeah.
Pass you the ball.
Yeah.
Now let's get to Chase the Coyote. So that means in 2018 you signed up for the first time as the 12K.
Correct.
Had you ever run at Mono Cliffs before you signed up for that race?
No.
No.
The training day that summer was the first time I had ever run at Mono Cliffs.
And then did you think, oh, what have I gotten myself into? Because I know living in Erin, you train a lot on the rail trail.
Right.
And there's some access to trails out that way, but that probably wasn't part of your normal routine, I assume.
No, I do run the side roads, and there's quite hilly, so there's still a change in elevation there, but not really trails. I mean, there's the Tower Trail, which is kind of like a mini chase the coyote, mono cliffs kind of thing, but nothing of that nature.
What made you decide to do trail rather than road? Road would be easier, I would assume.
Well, actually, it's funny. The reason I got into trailing, I was intrigued from talking to Jody, and after trying at mono cliffs, trail running is the best. What I really like about it is it engages all of your senses.
Yeah.
Because you're looking forward, you're anticipating the route, especially on the downhill or something like that. You're listening to the sounds and stuff. I mean, if I'm training during the week, I'll have headphones and listen to my playlist or GottaRunRacing podcasts.
Shameless plug.
But on the trails, no, because I want to hear what's going on. I want to experience that. I mean, it's just, and again, it's just something else entirely. I really am happiest running when I am on the trails.
Mm-hmm.
So I have both of you to thank for introducing me to this wonderful sport of trail running.
Well, the more the merrier, right?
Yeah. So the first year was the 12K at
Yep.
Chase the Coyote. That's where you did the clinic first.
Yep.
And then you knew exactly, because the clinic was exactly the race course.
Yes.
So how
The training day.
the training day
Yeah.
The training day.
was exactly, I set it up that the training day would be exactly the 12K race course.
Mm-hmm.
So how did that race go now that this is your first trail race? Really?
It went well. I mean, I'm slow. I'm a slow runner, and that's okay. But I really enjoyed it. I mean, the stairs, of course. I mean, I only did the 2 obstacles. I mean, that course didn't include the Roots of All Evil, so I only reached 2nd level that year. But I finished. I mean, I think that was the year that there was a contingent from England running that year.
Yes.
Yes.
And they all smoked me in my age group. So, but again, it's an inspiration to see to see that. And what I also found the other thing I like about the trail running series is just the sense of community that's there. I mean, you're getting encouragement from everybody. And I like how inclusive it is, and everybody supports everybody, and it's very good that way.
It's more about the experience, not the time that it took you to do it.
Yeah, time is irrelevant.
Right.
Time is irrelevant. Exactly.
Right.
If you want to stop and take a picture, you want to watch the sun come up over the horizon, that's encouraged rather than discouraged, because you're going to add a few seconds to your time.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you dabble in any longer distance road races between January and that September?
No, actually, it was at that point 10K was the longest race that or events that I participated in at that time. So the 25 was the longest distance that I had ever signed up for at that time.
That's impressive, because a 25K trail is more like a 30K road. So
Yeah.
you're tripling your distance.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a good goal to have.
And what made you decide to up the ante?
I just, again, it said, why not? Let's try it.
Well, and the 12K didn't discourage you by any means.
No.
You accomplished it.
Let's double it and see, because I mean, again, I wanted to hit level 3. I wanted the Roots.
Well, speaking of that,
DEFCON level. Yeah.
speaking of that, you got to take on the Roots of All Evil and the Dufferin Forest.
Which, now, did you come back to do the training run for that year as well? Because I don't know if I included the Roots in the training run as well, did I?
Yeah, that was the first time in that year that the Roots were included in the training run.
Did you do the Roots on that training day?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
I did. Yeah.
So the only surprise would be the Dufferin Forest.
Correct.
So how did that go in the 25K overall experience?
I had set myself a limit of about 4 hours. Knowing, I think the hard cutoff was 5. And I went through it and I kind of planned it out. I did some planning into where I should be at each aid station at what time in order to meet that 4-hour goal. And I made it by I think 5 minutes, but I made it under the 4 hours. I did hit the dirt that year. First time I had fallen. And it was in the Dufferin Forest, and it was on a gentle downslope. I was watching the 2 runners in front of me, and all of a sudden, bang, face first into the dirt.
And that's a long way down.
Yes, it is.
So many people fall in the least suspecting places, and I think it's because you sort of don't pay as much attention because you think you're not going to fall.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a section that you never would think of.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
And there's a lot of horse manure on that forest too. But
yeah. My big challenge too is with that. I kind of don't pick my feet up as high as I should, which is more of a challenge with the rocks and the roots and things like that. So I've several times I've stubbed my toe and done a quick dance routine to kind of stay upright, but this time I just went right down.
Too bad I don't have that on film.
Now, obviously, the pandemic forced the race to pause for a couple of years, which delayed your goal. So now you're a couple years older than you intended to be, signing up for that 50K. Right. Did at any point in leading up to the event, did you waver about doing that 50K ultra distance?
Yes, I had signed up for the 25 again in 2020, and it was deferred. And then this year, again in January, I thought, well, when I found out it was the last one, I said I'd always wondered what running the 50K distance would be like. And I said, well, it would be kind of nice to have all 3 distances. So I said, you know what? I emailed Jody and said, what's the cutoff? And she said, 8 hours. You can do it. I thought, well, we will see.
The hardest thing about ultra running is the decision to do it. Once you make the decision, the rest is easy.
And race day, I was anxious. The first loop was a struggle. It was more of a struggle than I thought it was going to be. I was actually running with Mary Fisher. We were running together, and she was encouraging me because she was determined to meet that 11 a.m. cutoff. And by the time we got through the outlier loop, I was just starting to struggle, and I had to convince her. I said, Mary, go on. I said, I'm still going to try for it, but please don't wait for me. Go ahead. And I think I made it there about 8 minutes past 11. So almost made it. Well, and at that point, Norm had met me.
Yeah.
And he just said, no, you got to keep going. He says, if you don't have a broken leg, keep going. I thought, you know what? Yeah. I signed up for it. And I said, let's go. I said, I know I'll have to walk the entire second loop, but I will finish it. Because again, when I backtrack, when you said if I was concerned about the thing, I thought at first I'm going to do the 50, like way back when I thought I was going to do the 50. I said, even if I don't make the 8 hour cutoff, I said, I'm just going to say to people, I don't care. Don't classify me. I'm going to finish the 50K just so I can say that I finished the 50K. If I'm not in the official results or DNF or DSQ, that's fine by me. So I said, well, let's do it. And I had to sit down and rest on the rock towards the top of the cardiac hill. And I thought, okay, questioning my life choices. At that point, because I did everything wrong that day as far as hydration and nutrition. So I was really feeling drained. I was nauseated. My foot was sore. And I thought, just let's take a breath. We're going to rest, not quit. And I stood up and made it to the top of the hill and met Norm at the first aid station. And I'd gotten a bit of a second wind by that time. And I said, oh, okay, no, I'll continue on. And then just kept plugging away. Had to sit down a couple of times to rest, but it there I finally caught up with Mary. She was coming out from the forest as I was heading into it, and she was surprised and pleased to see me. So then we went through the forest, and Norm met me on the way at the aid station on the way out, and by that time my arms and hands were all puffed up. Wasn't getting enough salt and stuff like that. Yeah. And then I just kept plugging on. With the stairs, I mean, at least you have the rungs to pull yourself up. The stairs aren't the issue. It's that hill at the top of the stairs. That's the dirty little secret of chasing the coyote. So I got up there and met Norm at the aid station. I mean, it was great. I mean, he met me at every aid. I know he was tearing them down after I left, but still. He waited for me and we had a bit of a pep talk and told me I wasn't drinking enough water and that my water bottle better be empty by the time he met me at the next one. So, and at least from that point on, at least it's downhill all the way to the outlier.
Yes.
So set off there and got to the aid station at the outlier. Norm just came up at that point and said, yeah, I will go through this, see in about an hour. And it was like, actually, Norm gave me the best advice there. He said, you know, like, you're here today, so you should do it. You could say, okay, I'll drop out now and train harder and come back next year, but there's no guarantees. Look what happened in 2020.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
So I said, you know what?
It's here and now.
Yeah, it's here and now. And went through that, got back, and there was just the final finish and went through it.
So what do you think you learned about yourself through those 50 kilometers that you may not have realized until you went through it, you pushed through?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was the most physically grueling thing I've ever done. What I learned is that I have to, you know, I mean, you can read all the books that you want about ultra running, but until you actually experience and know what your body can or can't do. So I know for next time, oh, did I just say next time?
Yeah, well, it's on film.
But you know, it's just a matter of, I know what to, and because of my experience, I know what to anticipate next time about the physical challenges of it as far as hydration and nutrition and just, again, I think just getting the mileage in for the endurance. Like I say, this year, it wasn't my best year for training, but I did it. I learned that a couple of times I stood up, excuse me, it was the most difficult thing to stand up. I had stopped. There's a bench on the way through towards the forest. And I sat down there and I thought, you know what? I could just lie down here and have a nap. I said, am I going to really do it? He says, well, you know, and then a black lab came up. I out for a hike with his people and he came up to me and said, hi, guy. So, I mean, he kind of, oh, okay. So got me a bit motivated to stand up and get going on. But yeah, it was just those times when you stopped and it was just, I have to stand up and keep going, you know? So that was, I can be stubborn can ask Marg about that. You know, and I will keep doing things until I get them right. Mm-hmm. So I just found, I mean, I think I was able to push myself right up to my limits that day. I mean, I wasn't physically prepared, but I think I just said, no, I got to keep going.
Well, this is the beauty of our sport, that we can all relate, no matter if you're in the front of the pack, the mid pack, back of the pack. We all can relate to the situation you're in, because you're saying that you had to sit down going up Cardiac Hill, which is only about, 500 meters. But I can relate, because when I did Leadville, which is climbing at 13,000 feet, I had to sit down 3 times going up that mountain, and I was asking my fellow runners for water because I'm out. And they gave me little what they spared. They spared what little they can to get me up the mountain. So I can relate. I was also down and out in Beverly Hills. But you keep going. And so even though you're telling the story about one of our events, a 50K, there's people around the world listening to this saying, I was there in another race, another situation, but I can understand what you're going through.
And you definitely understand the fact that no matter what, you're going to have highs and lows.
Right.
But you have to have the mental capacity to accept them, because at that point it is mental.
Yes.
Unless you've injured yourself, it's not about what your body's doing. It's about wrapping your head around the fact that I feel crappy. I want to stop. I'm not going to stop.
Right.
So they're going to come, get over them, and then you're going to have a second wind or a third wind or a fourth wind. It will happen.
And I also remember saying to myself, okay, I'll end it. I'll drop out on this race here. I'll come back next year. It doesn't happen.
Right.
The odds of actually going back and doing it again is so rare. You have to get it done right here, right now.
Yes.
So you don't have to come back.
Right.
Well, big congrats to you. I know it was a long, tough day, but when you got home, what did your wife say to you?
Yeah, what did Mark say? I hope she had a meal and beer.
No, actually, the thing was, I got home and I couldn't eat.
That's true.
I couldn't eat. However, I did grab a Mono Center Brewing beer out of the fridge. Best tasting beer I can ever remember having. I think it also has life-giving properties, because I felt somewhat restored after that. And again, and that was it. I mean, it's like Marg was very happy. I mean, I couldn't have done it without her support, because, I mean, she was supporting me all the way. She kind of put up with my preoccupation with this event for the past 9 months. She indulged in my obsession with running shoes. So
now that Chase the Coyote is no longer, that was the last race. You are the official last runner off the finish line.
Woohoo!
Would you ever go back to Monocliffs just to?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love running there. I really like running there. I really like running there, and I will definitely go back.
What other bucket list races do you have?
What I'm going to do, I think, for next year, I'm going to try at least 2 loops, if not more, at Rainbow.
Nice.
We'll see how that goes.
Nice.
I'm not sure about the Fiddle 50. I mean, it would be a good way to get a long distance in, but running a 1K loop for that long.
Cuckoo.
It could be your best 50.
It could be, but I just as soon. I really like the course at Earl Rowe. It's really nice.
Yes, thank you.
We like it too.
I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to do Mansfield's many loops. That's a tough one.
Very tough with the bike. Bike courses are tough for sure.
Yes.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
So, what would you say to our listeners who haven't quite jumped up to that ultra level and are contemplating it? What would you say to them to give some inspiration?
Again, if I can do it, you can do it. You know, and again, you're right. It's all about the mental thing. You just sort of have to make that decision that this is something I want to do, and I will do what it is necessary to get through it.
That's
And
exactly
that's the whole
right.
key to, I think, an ultra distance is that, yeah, you know that there's going to be pain. It's just, you have to deal with it.
That's right. For
Yeah.
for the reward, because the reward
Yeah.
of crossing the finish line is that feeling that we're all chasing,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. And again, it's funny when I finished, I mean, it was great because the parking lot was virtually empty. Jody was there. Mary was there. That was
Mary
amazing
waited
too.
for you. Yes.
And it's kind of like, yeah, I'm done. You know, it wasn't that big kind of rah-rah type of thing. It was like, yeah, it's done. And I don't think it really sank in till much later. I'm just glad to have finished. And I mean,
Yeah.
again, it was amazing that Jody waited for me. It was amazing that you got me included in the official results.
Yep.
You know, I'm honored to have been the last runner at Chase the Coyote. Honored to have set the SKT for the 50K.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
SKT.
Yeah.
I like that.
I'm gonna go out and do some some other SKTs.
Yeah, that's what I do. I do SKTs only.
I love that. You should start the hashtag on
Yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Well, we're honored that you were our very last finisher because you started with us
Ended.
and you finished the
Yeah.
race with us.
Yeah.
So we're very honored. Thank you, Neil.
Thank you.
All right, Neil, this has been a pleasure.
Pleasure.
Thank you for chatting with us.
Hope it
Thank
works.
you for having me.
And if you'd like to support Neil, he's doing the Run for the Cure next month.
Yep. October the 2nd.
Okay, we'll put a link in the show notes.
Yep, for sure.
To support Neil on his journey.
Thank you very much.
All right, Neil.
All right.
All right.
Cheers.
All right. See you later.
Bye.
Bye, Neil. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
And there you have it, Neil Baird. The final runner. Chase the Coyote.
How inspiring.
Yes.
I hope that non-runners or spouses of runners listen to this because it's never too late.
No, it's not, it's never too late.
It's never too late to start. And he obviously feels very rewarded by his achievements because he keeps doing it. He keeps pushing himself. It's been a 5-year journey to get here.
Mm-hmm.
And he's accomplished his goal and he's going to set new ones. So,
And to say that I became an ultra runner at 68.
yeah, how many people can say that? Very few.
Very few. And if he just started now, basically, another 20 years to go,
Let's hope for his sake.
who knows?
Yeah. Well, it's an honor that he was our very last
Yeah,
finisher, I have to say.
yeah. And we were with him every step of the way. At least I was.
I was in spirit until he got to the finish line.
And you know what else we didn't talk about in our Chase the Coyote intro?
What's that?
That how you and I separate during the race.
Oh, yes.
I don't get to see the reward ceremony. I never get to see the cleanup because I'm cleaning up the race as it's going on. And
I never get to see the race.
yeah, it's so funny how that is.
So we get together at the end of the day and we compare notes. And did you know this happened? And did you see this? And he has no idea.
No, and having chased Neil throughout the entire course on his second loop. And then I let him go to the finish line, and then that's it. I don't know what happened. So what happened at the finish line?
Well, he came down and Mary and I cheered him on. And we gave him, I think we tried to feed him. He didn't want anything. And he got in his car and he left.
So he didn't collapse or anything like that?
No, I was a little worried, but he just wanted to get home before he started seizing up. So
No, I did not want him to fall at the finish line because he's 6'6". That's a hard way to get up. It's a long way to get up.
Long way down, long way up. Yeah.
Anyway.
All right.
Well, there you go. That's our wrap up of Chase the Coyote, and we'll see you next year. We have other events. We'll see you there.
Cheers.
Bye.